911, what's the address of the emergency?
My parents, my mom's on the floor, and my stepdad's basically pale and they're not waking up.
Both of your parents?
Yes.
So both of your parents are not responsive? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. We will have a medic en route with you very shortly. Do you know if they're breathing?
No.
No, you don't know if they're breathing or they are not breathing?
Yeah, they're not breathing.
Okay, neither are breathing.
As soon as you do it, it's like a big blanket just goes over you. Everything just feels perfect, like your body don't hurt. You just feel like a new person. You don't think about the negative, you don't think about nothing. It's just nothing matters.
911, do you need police, fire, or an ambulance?
I need an ambulance. My mom.
Hold on.
My mom is choking.
Your mom is choking? How old is she?
Yes. She's 27.
Okay, how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 9.
You're 9?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me if she can breathe?
I don't know.
Is there anybody else there with you?
No, it's just me and my mom.
Okay, try and talk to her. Is she awake?
Oh, no.
Is she making any noises?
Yes, she is. I need an ambulance, but she's changing colors.
She's changing color?
Yes.
Keep talking to her, okay?
Mom.
Don't let her fall asleep, okay? Just keep me on the phone.
All right, Mom, wake up. Mom.
America's going through the worst drug crisis in its history, and is tearing families apart. A generation of children is being neglected, abandoned, or orphaned by parents addicted to opioids.
Someone I knew introduced me to heroin. And then before I knew it, it was to where if I didn't have it, I felt like I was gonna die.
Heroin is stronger than any human tie. It is stronger than any compelling argument. It is stronger than a religious belief. It is the devil incarnate. It is evil. It's the Black Plague. It's like the zombie apocalypse. It's death.
It's kind of like you're possessed or something. Like, you don't even care anymore.
To tell this story, we came to Chillicothe, a town in Ohio. The state has one of the highest drug overdose rates in the country. It seems like almost everyone here knows someone who's struggled with drugs. Amanda Howard's addiction started with a prescription to Percocet for back pain. She later switched to heroin because it was cheaper and easier to get.
When you were on heroin and just had Brody, what was that really like?
Okay, like I would waitress all day, make my money, and instead of going home, I would go get my fix, then go home, and he'd already be in bed, so I just wasn't there for him. Like, I didn't give him the extra he needed. I didn't spend much time playing with him, which he was really, really young. But it makes me sad, you know, every milestone like these two make, because then I'm like, man, I missed out on so much of him. You don't know reality. Your reality is gone. Eventually the cycle kills you if you don't get out. I'm lucky, you know, because I seen that wake-up call. I got out. I know so many people who have died who didn't get that call. So I had used, and I'm just sitting in the passenger seat. My husband comes out of the store, and I am completely collapsed over. He goes to pull me out of the car on purple and like blue, like I had OD'd. He had to do CPR and everything. Someone had called the emergency squad, and I don't really remember, you know, because I was like gone.
When you go back to that gas station, was your son in your mind?
Yes. Actually, what breaks my heart is he was in the back seat when that happened. I was supposed to be protecting him, and I died in front of him.
What would have happened with Brody had you not made it out of that gas station that day?
He wouldn't have a mom. And what would my legacy to my son be? Like, how bad would it be to be a kid and someone to say, your mom, you know, died, like, by overdose, and then the kid's gonna think, my mom must have not loved me.
911, what's the emergency?
I have two people passed out on my floor. I don't know what's going on. I think they might be fucked up or something.
Drug overdoses are now the leading cause of death for Americans under 50.
Are they?
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't think he's breathing. I don't think he's fucking breathing.
You got one, huh? Yeah. There's a call on a possible double overdose.
People here liken the drug crisis to a war, with police and EMTs on the front lines. In the last few years, they've responded to more overdose calls than ever.
It's like a tsunami has hit. But we just keep digging. The people that serve you in restaurants, the people that work on your car, the people who do your landscaping, those people are addicts. Maybe the first time was a choice, the second time may have been a choice, but after that, the demon has possession of them.
Come on. Hey, wake up. Family got any idea?
They didn't do anything weird. They would have, I would have like seen it or something.
So did you see any needles or anything? I've never seen anybody overdose.
Can you grab one, Arkin?
I got some.
Both. You got two?
Yeah, I got two.
Wake up. Come on. Wake up.
More than 100,000 people have died from drug overdoses in the last 2 years alone. Scenes like this are happening in homes across the country. And when kids are there, you can only imagine how they process it. Heroin can affect the cycle of life even before a baby is out of the womb. At Chillicothe's hospital, there's a program for pregnant women who are addicted to opiates. The women are given Subutex. It's a synthetic opioid, safer for babies, but they can still be born addicted to it.
How common is it here to have a woman who's pregnant and using heroin?
Very common. A lot of the women that have come through my group have been heroin users. Yeah. I would say over half of them are heroin users. A lot of the girls that I have in this group, mothers and fathers also used. Some of them are still using. And you know, then society is like really focused on them because you're pregnant, but they don't consider that this woman has been using probably since she was 14 years old and she's 24. She's been using for 10 years and now she's pregnant. It's all of a sudden, quit using. You know? It's not that simple.
Most of you guys know that not every baby withdraws, and we're hoping that most of the babies won't. But the reality is that about 55 to 60% of infants whose mother is on this medicine do withdraw. So more do withdrawal than don't. Some of the signs can be that they'd be crying a lot, they can be shaking, they can have a temperature. You know, like when you guys have went through withdrawal, your muscles start hurting, you know, and you'll rub your muscles because they're hurting so bad. Well, you know, obviously a baby can't rub their muscles. So what babies usually do is a lot of times they'll take their arms and they'll dig them back into the crib like this, and then they'll get like a red or a sore spot on their arms or elbows. Or they will take their heels and they will dig their heels down into the cribs, and then on the back of their heel right here, they'll get like a raw or rub spot.
Just kind of wondering, because so I have kids, I have 5 kids, and I know how hard the first few weeks, the first few months are of having a baby at home. Definitely. And now it's that and dealing with this, and I just wonder, so you say you're scared of that. Kind of what is that like? You're going through that.
I'm nervous, like, am I going to have energy to get out of bed? Am I going to be able to get the baby when he's crying? Like, am I going to have the willpower to want to do this?
It makes me really emotional to think about it.
Why? Explain that to me. Like, what are you feeling?
Like, I feel sick in the morning before I take my medicine. I think, oh my God, how does she feel? It's all my fault.
I OD'd 3 times off of heroin.
You OD'd 3 times in the last year?
Yes. And then I go right back out to the same people that sold me the dope that I about died on and go to them and get high again.
Is there a moment that you look back on and you remember that you chose heroin over your kids?
Yeah, plenty of times. To where I would lie to my son, tell him I'm on my way, I got money for you, and then I would be at the dope house. So yeah, there's been so many times that I got a 3-year-old daughter and having her right there beside me in the dope house, that's not good. Like, because she sees what goes on.
You know you're making a choice where you're choosing heroin over the welfare of your kids. What is it internally that what's the voice in your mind telling you? What are you?
Okay, when I'm sick, I don't care if I have to go through Jesus, the devil, hell, or high water. I'm going to get to that drug, and it don't matter if my child's sitting here screaming wanting something. I'm going to get to that drug, and then I'll deal with it as soon as I get it in me and I feel better.
What do you mean when I'm sick?
Cold chills. You can't stand for your skin to even to touch clothes. Like, if I would take a shower and try to comb my hair would hurt. Like, does that make sense? Yeah, like everything on my body hurt.
I can sit here and I can admit I chose methamphetamine over my children, my flesh and blood. And that, I believe, was the hardest thing I've ever done. You know, I had to admit to myself that I did that. That's right.
So you were used the meth and the heroin. Were you addicted to both?
Yes. I remember her coming to bother me. She wouldn't stop. She wanted to know what her Aunt Brandy was doing. I remember fighting with her and her brother both, screaming, I'm not going to use a needle on my niece. I'm not going to. And needless to say, I did. Because I'm an addict, and oh gee, after so long, I looked, well, hell, this is somebody else to get high with. Because I was selfish. You know, I still blame myself for her today and the things that she does.
It's concerning, it's frightening, it's sad. Not only for the people who are addicts who got trapped in that, but for their children, for their parents, for their brothers and sisters, for their future. The impact on children is way before somebody overdoses. It's the lifestyle that they're exposed to. They're in a home where the parent may not be able to fix them meals. They may wear the same clothes to school every week. Whether it's they're left alone, whether they're pawned off on friends or family.
It might still be in the dryer. Grandma don't know.
It's grandparents who often step in to fill the void. Tisa Beeler took over raising 4 granddaughters after both of their parents fell into drugs and the kids were placed in foster care.
I get frustrated using one hand. I was scared because I didn't know how to take care of my grandkids in a one-bedroom place and dealing with their temper tantrums and their fits and their screaming. I would literally go get in the shower and cry with my clothes on for, half hour, 45 minutes, or until somebody would come and calm me down and talk to me, And the kids didn't deserve that. They didn't deserve me yelling at them. It wasn't their fault, but everything just happened so fast. I was just got alone in my life. And then I get a phone call and I have to be in town to pick up 4 girls. No home of my own to raise them. But I made it there in 15 minutes and I got them and I tried.
Do you feel like you have 14 years of energy in you to parent?
No, I don't believe I've got 14 years of parenting. My health isn't good, but I know I have to do it and that's what keeps me going. Do you want me to make you another one?
Yes.
Okay, it just will take me a minute, okay? Because if I don't do it, who's going to? They're going to go back to foster care. Or they're going to be living in a home full of druggies and alcoholics.
And what do they say about the idea of being split up?
Kaya doesn't want to let them go. She'll tell me them are my babies. I've taken care of them. And I'm like, yes, you have. And I know they're your babies. But you're still a child, so Grandma's here to take care of your babies. So, that would have destroyed her to have lost them 3 kids.
At 10 years old, looking at it like she's losing her 3 kids.
Yes. Yes, she does. She's been taking care of the girls since she was 2 years old. Because it was baby after baby after baby, and she just took the role on its mommy when everybody was drunk and stoned. Didn't you, sissy? So, and she's still been have battles over it because she still wants to be mommy. And I try to get her to be a child. Yeah.
Like, what would she do when she was being mommy?
The youngest one was in diapers. She would diaper her, bathe her. Sometimes I have to come home and she'll be in there running bath water and trying to give them baths. And if I tell them they can't do something, she'll tell them they can.
What does it mean to have a parent absent from their kids' lives?
Yeah, they missed out on basketball games. The little things that you don't get to do twice, they're gone.
Why are you dressed like this in this picture?
What was you doing?
Graduating.
Your kindergarten graduation? Tell them.
Kindergarten graduate.
Mom and Dad didn't get to go to all this and watch her become somebody. Didn't get to watch this one take her first steps. Didn't get to see this one graduate from stuff,
Yeah, Daddy did.
Not this last time.
No.
So they're missing out a lot. They're not getting to see your ball games and your grades on your report cards. When you bring home A's, the excitement of it all. They don't get to see all that.
Mommy watched my game.
One time, twice, yeah. But I'm just saying, they're not there all the time to do these things with you. Grandma's the one that does it with you.
That's her.
And when they sat and cry, I have to tell them it's okay because Grandma's here. Grandma's not going nowhere. Tried to give them some stability and some security to hang on to.
Oh, you got your legs up there. When I was getting wet. In a bit.
I tell them all the time, life's unfair. You've got to make it what it is and what you want it to be. And I don't want these kids to think the world owes them because nobody owes anybody nothing. You make your life what it is living here. And nothing's free, nothing's fair. You just live it and then you die, It's sad the world the way it is today with the kids. Because kids they're getting love from their grandparents and stuff, but it's not the same as the mother-father love. It just isn't.
whenever their parents aren't active in their care, there is a hole in their life. Why did they abandon me? Why didn't they love me enough to take care of me? Why didn't they love me enough to stop doing what they were doing? Why wasn't I worth it? That is a recurrent theme their entire life.
My dad was into pills and opiates. He died of a combination of opiates and prescription drugs. So he passed away of an accidental drug overdose. My mom was into heroin. This is my mom and dad on their wedding day, about 19 or 20. My dad, from the day that he married her to the day that he died, looked exactly the same. He never changed.
Do you know if they're already using drugs here?
Yeah, they were.
They were?
Yeah. I was put into a foster home for a little bit when I was young, and I ended up having to go with my grandmother.
How did you find out when you were a little kid that something wasn't right with your parents?
Well, I always figured that it was cigarettes because nobody's going to tell a 6-year-old your parents are on drugs. And in 6th grade, my mom took me outside and she was like, Alexis, you're in the 6th grade. You still believe in Santa Claus. He's not real. And I remember just like staring at her and being like, what? And she was like, he's not real. And all the lies my mother had been telling me up until that point kind of fell apart. For me, Santa Claus was kind of like a metaphor for like the drugs, because it was on that same day where I realized there's something more than cigarettes. It was like a loss of innocence for me.
Do you have much of a relationship with her now?
Not really. We were having a really good relationship for a while when she had just gotten out of prison. But then she got back with her old boyfriend, and I know that the old boyfriend leads to getting back into her old lifestyle, and I didn't want to be a part of it. I've gotten used to saying goodbye to my mother.
As great as your grandma's been, does she fill that hole in your heart that's the shape of your mom?
No. No one could. If my parents weren't ever on drugs, they wouldn't have ever met. That's just how far back the drug use goes. I mean, my parents started out on weed and they ended up heroin and opiates, and it's, I mean, I wouldn't have been born if it wouldn't have been for the choices that were made. And sometimes I wish that I hadn't, just for the life it might have given my parents.
What do you mean?
Well, if my parents were never on drugs, they wouldn't have met, and I just wish they weren't on drugs.
But your very existence is tied up in that meeting and collision and drugs. And so, how do you reconcile that?
I mean, their lives are even more precious than my own, I think. When a life is taken away from drugs, it's just not fair. And even though I treasure the life I have, I just sometimes, thank you, I sometimes just wish that it could have been better for them.
Since 911, where you at?
I don't know. I can't read. There's a sign and I can't read that.
Okay. Who's unconscious? Who's not awake right now?
As Chillicothe and the rest of the nation struggle to contain the opioid epidemic, there's no doubt that the next generation is being shaped by it.
Okay, I'm gonna get you some help. Okay, how old are you?
The question, which will take years to resolve, is how.
How old are you?
The norm back in the day used to be a mom, a dad, 2 dogs, 2 kids. Now it's maybe a parent, maybe a grandmother, maybe an uncle, maybe a foster home, maybe just a whole lot of maybes. Nothing's set in stone. Nobody really looks at their kid and can say, you're gonna have a wonderful wife when you're older, you're gonna have kids, because they're not sure anymore.
Breathing?
Yeah, they're both breathing.
Okay. But you're unable to wake them up?
No, I tried, and they won't wake up.
Okay. Going really good. We got police and paramedics on the way.